everybody. So this is my little reading companion, Rory, and today I am very pleased to introduce you to Retrieving Gold. So this book came about through George, who works with our friend Gemma at Patient Pause Animal Assisted Education and Learning, and George has been working with Gemma in aged care for quite a number of years now, and this story started off as one of our golden moments. So it's the type of story that we share in our animal assisted therapy and education supervision sessions to give people an idea of what types of things, what successes we've been having, what kinds of things might be difficult, and to talk about the really beautiful moments that we get to witness working with people and animals, and that human-animal bond in action. So Gemma told us all about this story excuse me, as part of Golden Moments, and it was just such a beautiful story. We felt it needed to be shared, so she put it down in the form of the story, and Mathew Keany, who is one of the other directors at 12 Point Psychology here, did the illustrations. So it's very exciting to now have this in my hands, and we've got limited numbers of these for sale as well. So I thought I'll have a little bit of a read of the book today, so you can check it out and see if it's something that you or your clients or you as a family might be interested in, to something to share with the kids or anyone, I think, experiencing grief and loss. So the limited first editions are also signed by the author and illustrator, and I will start reading the story. So Retrieving Gold by Gemma Olsen, illustrated by Mathew Keany. I'm going to make sure that you can see the whole thing. His head slumped forward, the old man was wheeled into his new room, a world away from the comfort of the place he called home. "Here we are, this is your room," explained the nurse as he pressed the wheelchair brake down with his foot and began to open the curtains. "Rumph," protested the old man, refusing to lift his head and look around his new room. As the old man lay in his new bed, darkness began to fill his heart. The old man stayed in his new room, in his new bed, for a long, long time. The warmth of summer began to fade. Autumn came and went. Then winter. And spring. As the summer sun began to blaze again, the old man still lay in his bed. The darkness in his heart had grown with all the time that had passed. One day, the old man looked up from under his wiry eyebrows to see a dog standing in his doorway. "What do you want?" the old man snapped, rolling his eyes back underneath his brows. I want to reiterate, it's based on a true story. I remember all of this happening. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. The sound of the dog entering the room made the old man look again. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. The dog reached out to the old man, his paw and head resting on the side of the bed. "Persistent, aren't you?" The old man raised one side of his mouth, the first sign of a smile in a very long time. "Come on then." The old man used his hand to wave the dog up onto his bed. As the old man ran his hands through the dog's soft fur, he felt, for the first time since he moved into his new room, that he could breathe. He felt a sense of love and joy that he remembered from years past. Feeling the dog's glossy wet nose with his worn and weathered hands, he began to find it more difficult to hide his crooked smile. The next week, the dog came back, and again the week after that. With each visit, the old man felt stronger, and then it happened. The dog sat on the old man's bed, gazing out at the garden. "You want to go outside?" questioned the old man. "Well, come on then, let's get out of here." In autumn, they shared morning tea on the balcony and lunch. In winter, the old man would begin to tell the dog about his life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They sat in the cool, fresh air with the wind blowing through their whiskers. It made the old man feel alive again, and telling his story made him feel visible again. They celebrated the dog's birthday with cupcakes, party hats, and presents. And yes, that really happened too. In springtime, the old man would take the dog for spins, as he called it, around the block. They would sit together in their favourite spot, looking up at the blue sky, watching the planes overhead. They would make up stories about where the people on those planes were going. They came up with their own plans, the places they would go, and the things that they would do. Summer came, and for the first time in a long time, the old man went to the beach. Sitting by the edge of the sand, the old man smiled and laughed at the dog as he chased the ball across the sand. The leaves began to turn as autumn set in for another year. The old man and the dog sat together in their favourite spot. "You saved me, you know," said the old man to the dog. The dog returned a look of love and knowing. Then it happened. As the dog did every week, he came to see the old man, but he wasn't in their favourite spot. So he went to the old man's room. As he stood at the door, he stared at the empty made bed, and he knew that the man had gone. The dog's heart began to fill with the fog, the same fog the old man's heart had filled with, and he cried. The dog felt sad that he had lost his friend, angry that his friend left him, frightened of being alone, and guilty that he had not been there to say goodbye. The dog went and sat in their favourite spot. He watched the planes go by and remembered all of the plans that he and the old man had made. He walked through the streets, and as the sun's rays soaked into his soft fur, he remembered the times that the old man had taken him for spins around the block in the springtime. The dog went to the beach, and as he ran through the sand, he thought he could hear the old man laughing, just as he had done not so long ago. He began to understand that even though the old man was no longer with him, the memories they had created together were still strong. Over time, they began to bring him happiness. So the dog continued to do the things that he and the old man had enjoyed doing. Spins around the block, watching the planes, playing at the beach, morning teas and lunches on the balcony. One day, the dog went to sit on the balcony where he and the old man used to have morning tea. There he saw a lady, her head slumped low and a sigh in each of her breaths. The dog immediately saw the fog that he had recognised in the old man's heart in this lady. He remembered his friendship with the old man and how it had filled both his and the old man's heart with colour and joy, and he shed a tear. The dog approached the old lady and he gently nudged his head under her hand. She opened her eyes, looked down at the dog, and began to cry. The next week, the dog came back, and the week after, and the week after that. The dog took the lady for spins around the block, and she threw the ball for him at the beach. The dog began to share all of the things that brought him and the old man happiness, and it began to fill the old lady's heart with joy. The dog would miss the old man terribly, but the memory of his friend would be what he would use to help him to heal, and help him to heal others. The end. And then there's a little bit about Gemma and Matt at the back as well. So that is Retrieving Gold. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you're not bawling terribly in public right now, but I just really wanted to share that because I thought it was such a special story, and it's so nice to have it in our hands. So if it did have an impact, then grab a puppy, cuddle a puppy, and tell someone close to you how much they mean to you. And stay tuned potentially for when we might start making the book available for purchase as well. All right, thanks very much, everybody.